in video 9a, we explained how this is 2/3 the square root of 6, right? And then we showed it by going a cross-section through the octet matrix, which divides this square root of 6 vector into 3 equal parts. So it's really neat that universe does this at this elementary level with the 2 primary conceptual entities. So that we have, up to now, we've been working with halving 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 in terms of the frequency divisions, and now we're doing 3, 6, 9, 18, 36, and a different system of division. So that's pretty amazing that it's happening elementally like this and suggesting itself. Another suggestion that is happening here is when you look at this octahedron, you realize that the implied tetrahedrons on the faces can be imploded into the octahedron, as we showed you before. And on all faces, which I'll show you later on what that implies. But implosion works perfectly well in the octet matrix. However, in the tetrahedron and tetrastar implication, there is no possibility of any new form coming out of implosion, so that we can, we don't have any potential for internal creation. It's a completely different concept, and it's so perfectly beautiful for thinking about the difference between organic and inorganic. Now here we have the tetrastar and the fully developed tetrahedrons on each face of the initial tetrahedron. Now, following our system in pure conceptuality of connecting new points, we have new points here, okay? And we have, just going to tell you, it's just, you can figure it by the Pythagorean theorem. This new dimension here is 1 2/3 if these are 1 unit. So the new dimension is 1 2/3. So if now that we have 3 that we can use in our frequencies, if we make this dimension 3, then this dimension across here will be 5. If we make this dimension frequency 6, this dimension across here becomes 10. And that's a real handy number for whole number understandability or clarity and proportionality. So here we have taken that construction and we have put in these vectors, which are suggested by its form itself, and we have a new tetrahedron with these a new basic tetrahedron here in black, and then we have these little tetrahedrons that form on top by the same concept of connecting this new point, which is outside the field of the tetrahedron. And we have this construction here. We have another tetrahedron on top. We also don't have conceptually, we don't have a reversibility here to internally to implode. So this suggests constant expansion, and it suggests expansion by addition, which means you have to get energy from somewhere. When you're imploding, the energy is fully contained in the original form. This form requires energy to be added. Okay, so now we have this new super tetrahedron, and then once we put these faces on it, we come up with a tetrahedral dodecahedron, because 4 times 3 is 12, right? Each face is 3. The mathematics of this thing is incredible, as these constructions here are a really neat mathematics, a really neat geometrical reality, where this dimension is 6, because this was frequency 6, so this is 6. Half of this is the 5, and then the this dimension by Pythagorean theorem is this square root of 11, and it's this beautiful that 6 plus 5 equals 11. It's a really interesting triangle. So now we have in this construction, we really have a resolution. I mean, everything is resolved, and we could add tetrahedrons on, but they would be interpenetrated by this this bit here, this new this extended tetrahedron, this little face bonded tetrahedron. But we could continue to make our tetrahedral strands. And even so, I mean, it doesn't preclude having the tetrahelix, right? So that's really pretty interesting stuff in terms of the conceptual difference, what it suggests. So now, also one other thing I wanted to point out, that all of this, the rationality of this is incredible, that this little tetrahedron on top is exactly 1/5 of the tetrahedral volume of the big tetrahedron. All of these dimensions are rational. Now this is 96 across the whole the axis of these two tetrahedrons, and this is this little bit here. This is the square root of 13.5. And I'll show you in another model later on. But all of this is very low number frequency and reality and proportionality that's completely rational in whole numbers, including the volumes. It's really an amazing thing. So now, to reinforce this concept of the organic nature of the reality, is that we have here just a bunch of tetrahedrons put together. Right? Now you could imagine adding on some more, right? And having all the kinds of strands of these helixes in every kind of configuration, which is the organic reality. The octet, in the terms of the matrix, is the crystalline reality, right? And they're two completely different. The implications are completely different of both of these configurations. One has all of its necessary energy, and this one exists in the context of the other and requires addition, requires energy in order to live. It has to eat. It's a living reality. Okay. I think that is what I wanted to say about this, and it's really we don't want to be mathematicians here, but the elegance of the math and the elegance of the rationality of the proportions and the volumetric rationality, it adds validity to this way of thinking. So that's it for this one.